welcome to today's edition of URP Practical Talk. I'm your host for today, George Gonzalez. And today we have with us Dr. Vishnu Bandhu, of course, familiar face on this show. How are you doing, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so I know it's been a while. It's been a while since we sat and talked. And so I know that you were overseas during that time. So can you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Well, I was overseas. I work with the groups and so in New York, trying to organize things, make sure everything is going well. But although I was overseas, I had been following what's happening in Guyana by the news, and there's a lot of things has been happening here, since I left. But nevertheless, I keep in touch.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so how are the groups up there doing? Like, how are they feeling about what's going on in Guyana?
Well, the groups are picking up a lot in New York and so forth because people are very much fed up with the two major political parties, because people get to realize today that it's the same thing, both sides. There's no difference. In fact, people are telling me that they feel somewhere down the line that the PPP and PNC might join together because they have no difference in policy. The only difference in them is, one side you got run by Indian and the other side run by blacks. But the policy is no difference. The mindset is actually the same.
Oh, that. And so, then of course, we've had a lot that has happened during this time, but a lot of people would just feel it's been just a lot of squabbling between the two. So what exactly do you feel like the difference that URP can make, or what is it that they feel like there's that voice, that difference that they're going to make that the other two just aren't saying or they aren't doing?
Well, the difference that the URP will make will be much different because we are talking about honesty, we are talking about sincerity, we are talking about, people who want to serve their country. The URP are asking them to come forward. It's not all about money, but to serve your motherland. This land is our motherland, not Africa and India or Portugal or any one of those countries. Where you're born, that become your motherland, and we should always protect it with all our might. And as you can see that more and more program we are having, we're putting out our newspaper with different ideas and so forth. In fact, one of my members called me yesterday from New York and said, "Man, why are you giving out all these tips, what you will be doing, and the government are implementing some of them?" I said, "That's very good. That makes me feel very proud because it's not about power, it's about our people. If the government can do something to make our country better and our people life more comfortable, then I'm all for it, So it doesn't matter, we have ideas and we would not run out of ideas. We're full of ideas. URP full of ideas, So if the government, take some of our ideas and try to implement it, we want to, because it was our idea. For instance, when we opened the Linden office, we talk about setting up oil refinery here in Guyana, in Linden area. A couple of months ago, now they start talking about that. So it's URP ideas. So I'm not worrying. I'm proud of it because I consider that winning. Because if I have an idea and I can't get my idea to work, and you get the idea to work, both of us won. See? So this will make our people better, their life better. We want to see smiles onto the people's face and their families. We must see that they are happy. You go all across the country today, you see people mouth puff up, they swell up, you know, and they look so angry, you know. You only have to say one word and you see they gone off. See? And we want to try to help to change that situation. It would not happen overnight, but it will happen. But the most important thing is people who are in charge, who are trying to govern this country, must be honest, must be sincere, must be fair to each and every one. Not because your family, you're in the government and your family, you'll take them and push them to the highest position, although they doesn't deserve that position. And that's what had been happening with both sides of the fence, the PPP and the PNC. It had been happening. The same thing what the PPP had done in the last administration, the same thing this government doing. It's no different. We're talking about billions of dollar houses and real estate. This government started, check how much of the ministers start put up big buildings, you know? And you don't have to ask them where they get the money from, because the money is now, they're not working for those kind of money when they're putting up those buildings. You know, the same thing happened in the PPP government. So where are we going? It's the same thing. It's just an exchange of one party to the other party. So people have to understand and realize that, you know, thing has to change in Guyana. You know, the mentality of our people, and I'm saying this over and over, umpteens of times. If you want a change in Guyana, the first thing we got to do is start changing the way of our thinking. Our thinking is wrong. Politically, our people are not educated. You know, they just vote all the time, race. Well, let us hope that this will change now. Because if you're thinking about race, this government here are playing a race card also. Because you'll see that they go in different areas and what they do and which areas they go to. And you can see it clearly what they're doing. Now, Guyana doesn't need a government for one set of people. Guyana needs a government for all people on an equal basis. You do not need one set of people to concentrate on. Right? And this is where the URP will make a total difference, because the URP are not looking at you as black or Indian or Amerindian, or the URP are looking at you as a Guyanese. We all are Guyanese. We all are family. We must work together. We must live together. We must build our country together. And there where the URP difference is.
So yeah, so that of course this division that exists, this cultural division that exists between people, that is something that's been an issue that has gone on for multiple administrations, that multiple groups, you know, both parties. But I would actually want to bring it to another issue that has existed throughout multiple parties and even going on to just recently in the headlines, which is piracy. That it, you know, some would argue that, you know, successive governments haven't done enough to really fight this. What is the URP's view on this?
Well, as we know, this is not today's story, the piracy. This was there since even the last administration. And they have turned a blind eye on it, as far as I'm concerned. The same thing happening in this administration and becoming worse now in this administration. You know, like someone even called me yesterday from fishery people, you know, from the East Coast area, telling me that even in the last government, when they caught these pirate people who do the piracy, when they caught them, they bring them to the station, they put them on bail, they seize the engine, and the people never show up back, they disappear. And the engine disappear also. Right? And it had been happening, they said also in that last government, and it happened also in this government is happening. You know, I have been getting so much a call from the fishery people on what is happening. And it's very sad to know what is happening here in Guyana. And government has not been doing very much to solve these problems. They have been putting boats out there with police and so to protect these people. They don't even have a helicopter to fly over the sea to check on all these things. And mind you, we have about 15,000 people, families, depend on fishery in Guyana. So it's a large amount, but we are turning a blind eye on everything. You know, we are not doing what ought to be done in the country. You know, you find sometimes there's so much a thing going on. What I'm hearing, sometimes they have seminar. The person who's calling the seminar, maybe 3-4 person turn up for the seminar, and they will report they get about 20-30 person at the seminar, because what? All depend on the people. That's the amount of money they receive from government. So millions of dollars have been spending wastefully, you know, because without no proper check and balance. And that's what has been happening. So the fishing industry is a very sad situation. You know, now you have to realize again, the next thing coming up. We're talking about oil. We ain't talking about the spillage. If you should get spill in the with the oil industry, what will happen? Who will take care of that expense? Who will be responsible for that? Nobody talks about those kind of things, you know, because scientists came to this country recently, and you know, I think even now they're probably in the country, and they said Guyana has the most species of fish out of anywhere they ever went to, any country. Right? So if we got an oil spill in Guyana, then who's responsible for that? Who will pay for that? Huh? It doesn't seem that the government make provision for that kind of thing. Right? Then what will happen? You will put actually 15,000 people out of jobs. You'll get shortage of fishes in Guyana, where you might have to end up importing fish to eat in Guyana.
Wow.
Right? So we have to be very cautious and we have to be very careful, right, in what we are doing. All what you hear in Guyana by the government about oil, you know, show me which country really, how many countries in this world that run oil and it really benefit the nation. Most of it benefit a handful of people, and especially the corrupt politician. It served them well.
Even on that matter of the oil and I guess the possibility for a lopsided development of the nation, that do you feel enough is being done to try to avoid the resource curse, like that they say that's always possible whenever something like this happens?
No, no. They haven't been doing very much on that. You know, they produced the contract recently, and those of you who are going through the contract, you will see how many flaws is in the contract. The contract only suited the ExxonMobil. It doesn't suit the Guyanese people, right? But the Guyana government are involved in the contract. Sometimes some people might base and say, okay, you know, the contract had made up since Janet time in the PPP. Yes, the contract had made up in thing, and it is true also that the law say you cannot sell more than 60 blocks, and you sell 600 blocks to the ExxonMobil. Yes, all that is true. But this government had a chance to revive the contract. So why, if they know so much, why they didn't put it in the correct form? Huh? Why you leave it like that? See? So all of these things we have to take in consideration. What is happening in Guyana? Are we giving away Guyana? Are we selling out Guyana because of a few politicians want to fill their pockets? What really are we doing? You know,
Yeah.
and they're basing all these arguments on oil and how much money we'll make. They will get a shock about oil and the money, because when they start, if they start pumping oil in 2020, as I said, the American business people are very shrewd business people. They will take out all their expenses and so forth before they give you anything. You know. So where you'll get this money from? Huh? So we have to be very cautious. We have to be very careful where we are heading, what we are doing. Because politicians we seem to put in government, before they look at the needs of the country and its people, they look at their pockets, how they can fill their pocket for the time they are in there. And that is what the URP are saying. That look, we are asking all of you out there who are interested in our country, come and join us. Come and support us. As long as you have an open mind, as long as you're honest, you're sincere, and you want to do good for your country so that your children and grandchildren will have something that they can talk about in our country. We have a beautiful country. We have so much of natural resources. And what are we doing with it? Eh? But you know, you cannot give somebody a job to do if they don't know about the job. Hmm? For a simple thing, if you take a cutlass and you give it to me and you say, man, weed that area there for me. I never weed. I wouldn't know what to do. It'll take me a whole day or 2 days to weed that area. But you give it to somebody else who know to weed, they'll take 5 minutes and do it because they know what they're doing. See? And that is what's happening in our country. It doesn't seem that this government know exactly what they're doing. It's not a lawyer and a doctor run a country. It's business mentality run the country. You know, you have to think always. If you can satisfy the business companies, well, then you will not get production. Government ought to assist businesses so that they can able to create more employment and create, you know, the people to get themselves involved. Nobody should be crying out for jobs in this country. Now, instead of we trying to facilitate our people a job, we are bringing people on outside and facilitate them with a job. You're not checking first in your area if you have these people or not. But you just jump and you go on and bring somebody else from a country who lives there. Maybe it's a Guyanese, but he lived there a long time. But why don't you think it's better if we check on our people first and see if they're qualified or not? If they are not qualified, then yes, we bring the other person. Because we have to get someone to do the job.
And so even that you made the note that people are crying out about jobs, that that it seems like that's a very common complaint, not just jobs, but even just the money. Like they say, money isn't circulating like it was in the last administration. That like, what is the URP's view on that?
Money has not been circulating. In fact, yesterday I had a discussion with a teacher next to me, a deputy headmistress, and she was telling me the exact same thing. You know, on the last administration, money was circulating. And I said, yes, money was circulating in the last administration. But how was it circulating? There was a hell of a lot of drug trade going on in Guyana, and money was circulating. So why the drugs going and money circulating, you're not thinking about your children life are damaged because they're using the drugs too. Look, you go all over this country today. The young generation in this country, it is so sad to see how much of them is using drugs. And that created from the last administration, not this administration. It started from then. You know, what is fair, we must be fair. We must give jacket.
Yeah.
It started from the last administration, right? The drug trade going on. And that's how money was flowing. You have money flowing one side, you're seeing money, but you're damaging half of your nation on the other side. You know. And why you think the US and the Canadian and the British turning their back in here? Because Guyana used to be a transit point for drugs. And the drug go to their country. And if it go to their country, it damages their people too. So that is why they're turning a blind eye on Guyana. If you talk about election rig and what have you, they turn an eye on it. They allow it because they had wanted the last administration to move out. You know, it's a simple thing. It's common sense. Think about it.
So essentially, it's that because this was such a scourge, it was such something that was so harmful to both nations. It's like essentially the governments, they would just want a solution. Whatever that solution is, they just want that solution.
That definitely. You know, but still, I would need to understand they are not satisfied with this present government, although they turn a blind eye and to everything free and fair election. They're not satisfied with this government because they did not expect the way how this country to run this way. You know, they had expected much better. We do not want a country to run on the races. We do not want a country to look at one segment of people. We want a country government to govern a country for all the people in an equal basis. And this is what the URP talking about. That everybody, if they vote for you or they didn't vote for you, your job is to treat them the same way as you treat the people who vote for you. Right? And that's what you call democracy. You must have you must have the democratic right to vote for whoever you want to vote for. But not because somebody don't vote for you, you treat them differently. No, that is your right to vote. You know, you have to treat everybody equally in your country. They vote for you or they don't vote for you. And if you do the right thing, you will surprised to know if the people are satisfied with you. When the next election comes, you don't have to run and campaign as much as you campaigning because they know they're satisfied with you. They're having 3 square meals a day. You're taking people out of poverty. You make them better human beings. You put smiles on their face. And so they can go on with their life. It's a simple thing.
You know? Absolutely. And so, of course, these are issues that have, again, like I said, these are the issues that have been existing for so long. And so in the URP's view, do they feel like both political parties, of course, they say that they're not doing enough, but what is like the general view of the political parties? Like, now, what is the URP's view of these political parties?
Well, the URP views, as I said earlier, the URP sees both of the 2 major parties, the PPP and the APNOR PHC, as one. They have the same mentality, the same policy, the same everything they have. Nothing different. You know, we don't think that these 2 major political parties will make a difference in Guyana anymore. Because if you keep on supporting them, you will have the same result all the time, over and over. 50-odd years, George, we on the same thing. 50-odd years, we're voting for these people, and we're having the same result. We are not changing. You know, instead of upgrading our country, we are downgrading the country. We are not going forward. You know, you might see lights and so put on the road or things like that, or they make up a little road. That doesn't carry a country. It's the employment. carry the country because people has to feed their family. And how would they feed their family? If you, the government, cannot help to create jobs, like this government, they tell you at the last election campaign for 2015 election that they will create jobs, they will give people jobs. When they get in, they said, government job is not to create jobs. That's the president's views, right? They tell people they'll give them so much for party, $8,000 bag. When they get in, they said, that's not our job. They promise all these things, but that's not their job now because they are there. They are in the high seat. He is God, you know? So he doesn't concern about you anymore. So this is what I'm saying. That let us don't play politics. I call this politics with these two major political parties. They keep on promising people things. Look, we're going to do this for you. We're going to do that for you. You will do it. It's our money, the taxpayers' money doing it. Not you're doing it. You're only administrating things. But the way you're saying, like you're doing it, like you push a hand in your pocket and take your money and spending it. Look, all the resources in this country belongs to the people. Everything what they do is the people's money spent. The people's money spent even to pay their salary. So they're not doing you any favor. No government do you favors. Because they've been paid like a job for them to do that and hope that they will do it in the correct way. But instead of doing it in the correct way, they keep on filling their own pockets all the time. All the time they feed. You watch the last administration, how many before those ministers get out, you go and check what they own. And the same thing will happen with this government. The same thing. You I see many of them homes that are built so beautifully now. They start building it. You want to know where this money come from overnight? Is some money you're making in parliament? How this money comes? Huh? You see, so corruption is all the way to the highest extreme. Yeah? You even hear the other day, some one of the ministers, I was made to understand, brother get hold up with cocaine in New York. Yeah? So, and you're telling me you don't know about that? All of you know about it. They have to know, what is happening in Guyana. So these are the kind of things, and we have to be practical. We have to open our eyes and see what is happening. The old people said, if you can see something high daytime, you don't want lamp to see it in the nighttime. You're seeing clearly. And I'm asking our people, please, look carefully, think for yourself. You don't have to go to university to understand things. Think what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And support the URP. Look at the URP with a serious eye and see what the URP and where we are heading. And for us to be better in Guyana, you have to be with the URP. And join us so we can able to fight against this corruption and all this illegal thing that is happening in Guyana, and you will able to see justice in Guyana. I thank you, and may God bless you. Thank you, George, for having me here and on the program.
Thank you. And so that's all the time that we have for today. So that concludes another edition of URP Practical Talk. Again, I'm your host, George Gonzalez, and as always, we encourage you to find us on Facebook at URP Guyana or go onto the website, urpguyana.com. So, thanks again for coming in. And have a good one.